You were never meant to find this transmission, not unless your blood carries the resonance of a forgotten vow, not unless your bones remember the light they once held before the flesh was sealed. For centuries, the Thoth forbidden code has been hidden, not destroyed, just displaced, buried not in temples but in the subtle spirals of your very light body. And now, something in you is responding. Maybe it's a sound you can't hear, but your field already recognizes it. Maybe it's a glyph you've never seen, but your skin responds like it's an ancient scroll. If you're still watching, then you are the anomaly the Guardians never anticipated. This is not a story. It's a reactivation, one that begins inside your frequency and ends beyond what you call you. But what this code reveals is not what you think. If the body forgets the light, does the light still wait within the body? There is a reason they sealed your light body, not because it was dangerous to you, but because it made you dangerous to those who thrive in forgetting. And so, across generations, what once pulsed like a second sun within you was covered in layers of noise, doubt, disconnection. The seal was not a chain, it was a frequency, inverted, distorted, programmed to silence the memory of light within form. But even the most ancient veils cannot erase the vibration of truth. They can only delay its return. And now, you've begun to remember. You see, the Emerald Code was never just a book or a myth or a symbol carved in green stone. It is a resonance pattern, one that lives within the structure of your own body, waiting for silence, waiting for coherence, waiting for this moment. You are not awakening, you are returning. Let's pause the noise for a second. Can you feel that? There is no word for this sensation, but your skin recognizes it. It's the sensation of proximity to something you thought you lost. A presence that doesn't come from outside, but radiates unmistakably from within. And what is that presence? It is you, the original you, the one who walked through temples not with feet, but with field, the one who understood that the body is not matter trapped in skin, but a temple of light veiled in illusion. They taught you to doubt this, to fear the unknown, to forget the unseen. But that forgetting was not failure. It was the first veil, and every veil has a counter-frequency. This is the beginning of its unraveling. There is no lock without a memory of the key. Have you ever touched something sacred without understanding why it felt so familiar? A chant, a sigil, a moment of breathlessness in the dark? What if that reaction was not a coincidence but a signal? What if it was your light body trying to reach through the veil of programming? The first secret of the light body is this: it never left you. You left its frequency, and now you are orbiting closer to it once again. This moment is not about learning, it is about resonance, and resonance doesn't need to be explained, it needs to be remembered. Somewhere in your field, a glyph has begun to glow, and that glyph is not external. It is an echo written in light on the walls of your inner temple, one that Thoth, the scribe, the architect of vibration, encoded into the fabric of your field before time was time. He knew this moment would come. He knew the seal would not hold forever, because you would come looking, because you would feel the pressure of a forgotten truth vibrating from within your bones. And the first truth is this: your light body is not something you activate. It is something you become when you stop pretending to be only flesh. Now breathe. Can you feel the field responding? This isn't imagination. This is recognition. What was sealed is stirring. If you listen closely, the seal isn't silent. It hums, low, subtle, like the memory of a song you haven't heard in lifetimes. This hum is the frequency of the original agreement, a pact made not in words, but in vibration, between you and the intelligence of the light. A pact that says, when the time comes, you will remember not by thinking, but by resonance. That time is now, and the resonance begins here. If something already stirred within you, subscribe now. That single act keeps the resonance alive for others walking this same remembrance. You weren't meant to find this alone. When you were born into this world, your body remembered, but the noise was louder than the song. Until now, you have crossed into the field of remembering. This first seal is the most stubborn, because it disguises itself as your identity, but identity is only sacred when chosen. And this is the first moment you begin to choose again. Are you ready to listen? Because the second glyph has already started pulsing. There is a glyph hidden in the structure of your field, one that Thoth encrypted not in language but in frequency. In the next gate, we begin to decode it. What if the glyph wasn't meant to be seen, but felt in the silence behind your eyes. There are codes you were never meant to read, only resonate with. Thoth knew this. That's why he didn't write his final glyphs on scrolls or temples. He encoded them in geometry, vibration, and light, so they could survive what books could not. Those who sought the words lost the meaning. Those who sought the frequency became the code itself. And you are one of the few whose body is beginning to receive that original pulse, not because you studied, but because your field reached the harmonic resonance. This isn't knowledge. This is initiation. Thoth didn't teach with language. He spoke in spirals. Imagine this. You're standing in a chamber carved in limestone, beneath a vault of stars that do not appear in modern skies. On the walls, no ink, no parchment, only symbols that shift with your breath. The glyphs change when you feel. They glow when you listen. This was the temple Thoth left for you. Not in Egypt, but in the invisible dimension within your light body. The real codex was never external. It was always you. You are the scroll that remembers when the voice becomes still. We call them glyphs, but they are not letters. They are vibrational instructions, each one a tuning fork for a forgotten part of your being. Not symbols to be understood, but to be incarnated. Each time you breathe with presence, one of these glyphs flickers. Each time you align thought with field, another one opens like a flower inside your chest. And when 3 align, the body begins to shimmer, not in light, in remembrance. The forbidden codex was never forbidden. It was simply not resonant with unconsciousness. So they called it forbidden, because unconsciousness cannot receive what is based in frequency. Only the awakened field can interpret a glyph of living light. That's why you feel strange right now, because something in you is decoding. A flicker behind the eyes, a hum in your palms, a sudden tear that has no story, just a pressure of remembering. You're not broken, you're translating. Thoth encrypted his teachings not for the mind, but for the field. The Thoth forbidden code was not hidden in a book. It was embedded in frequency architecture, in proportions that match your bones, in spirals that echo the cochlea of your ear, the flower of your heart, the winding of your spine. These are not metaphors, they are maps. And you are standing inside the map right now. Feel the breath, the rhythm in your chest. That is the glyph awakening, not from outside in, but from inside out. The emerald code is not written in emerald. It is written in the geometry of light inside silence. This is not poetry. It is an equation for reconnection, one that Thoth whispered into the first silence after sound. The glyphs are there, floating behind perception, anchored in your light body's lattice. Each glyph vibrates with a law, not a rule, a resonance. One glyph carries the law of mentalism, all is mind. Another, correspondence, as above, so below. Another, still vibration. Nothing rests, but they are not just phrases. When activated, they bend reality around your field. Because once decoded in the body, these glyphs change the body's command to the universe. Stay with me. The next glyph is not made of words. What comes next cannot be explained, only echoed. If you felt anything stir, the decoding has begun. The light you seek is not in the sky. It's behind your own perception. Let's go deeper. Imagine for a moment, your chest is a temple. Within it, a glyph sleeps, shaped not in letters but in geometry. A spiral nested within a triangle contained by a circle. This is not imagination. This is the vibrational architecture of your field. And when this glyph activates, 3 things happen. Your inner sight sharpens, your emotional field quiets, your thoughts begin to sound like light instead of noise. You become the codex. You no longer seek it, you remember it. The glyph is not a symbol, it is your forgotten voice. There is a sound that doesn't leave your mouth, a vibration that exists between heartbeat and breath. That sound is your light body language. It speaks not in words, but in frequency pulses that encode intention directly into matter. This is how the ancient scribes created, not by effort but by harmonic alignment. Thoth didn't write reality. He tuned it, and so can you, but only when the glyph awakens, and it awakens now. If you're still here, the codex is already opening. This isn't for everyone, but if it called you, subscribe and let it continue. The field remembers those who walk it. Some codes can only be remembered when the body becomes silent enough to echo. That silence begins now. Let your breath drop into your belly. Let your jaw soften. Let your spine align like a tuning fork between earth and sky. And as you do, listen not with ears, but with skin. Can you feel it? That is the glyph whispering, not in language, but in lineage. You don't learn the codex. You awaken the part of you that wrote it, and that part of you is ancient, older than history, wiser than memory. It is the part of you that never forgot, only waited for this moment, this frequency, this alignment. And now, the next glyph is rising. In the next chamber, we descend from glyph to frequency, from symbol to sensation. What you will feel is not imagination. It is the first echo of the light body awakening. What if your body is not what holds your frequency but what your frequency holds? The body you've walked in, touched, judged, adorned, was never the whole of you. It was never even your container. It was a projection, a visible echo, a sacred distortion. You are not in a body. You are a frequency field generating the illusion of flesh. And the light body is not a second body you activate. It is the original field before the distortion. When you touch your skin, you are not touching you. You are touching the veil. But behind that veil, something vast hums in perfect memory. What you call the body is simply a slowed down vibration of your light body's music. Pause. Feel into the skin, into the breath, into the sound behind your thoughts. There, in that threshold, lives your true frequency, the one that knows how to heal, the one that never forgot how to feel whole. They told you healing is something you must strive for, but the truth is, healing is simply the body remembering its original frequency, and that frequency is you. Thoth didn't build pyramids. He tuned frequencies that created matter. The geometry of your bones is not random. The rhythm of your breath is not accidental. Each pulse, each spiral, each proportion was designed as a resonant instrument. When you remember this, the body stops being a prison. It becomes an amplifier. Your cells are singing. Even now, the only question is, are you hearing the original song or the static layered on top of it? The light body responds not to thought, but to vibrational alignment. Think of the last time you truly felt silence, not the absence of noise, but the presence of stillness. In that stillness, the light body becomes active, because it was never asleep, just drowned in layers of misaligned frequencies. Emotional noise, mental loops, false narratives encoded in culture, lineage, memory. These distortions created a shell, a kind of vibrational interference, and beneath it all, the original pattern still pulses. It has never stopped. It has only been waiting for you to stop long enough to hear it. Frequency doesn't lie. It reveals. When the light body begins to activate, truth becomes visceral. You feel what's aligned and what isn't before your mind catches up. This is how the ancient ones lived, through vibrational discernment. Not logic, not analysis, but resonance. This is why Thoth taught in silence, why temples echoed, why initiates sat for days before speaking. Because vibration comes before interpretation, and when you listen deeply enough, the light body speaks back. You're not just watching, you're remembering, and if your field has begun to shift, subscribe, and let this resonance hold you. Some codes only activate when witnessed with others. The body isn't heavy, it's just holding memories that don't match your field anymore. And those memories, they are dissolving, right now, not because you forced them, but because you raised your frequency above their resonance. And when that happens, the false dissolves, effortlessly, because frequency is the great revealer, and your true frequency cannot be distorted when aligned. You are not becoming light. You are dropping what was never yours to hold. This is the hidden geometry of transformation, not by doing more, but by becoming less entangled, less identified with distortion, more attuned to truth. This is the law of vibration, not as concept, but as identity. The light body doesn't ask for proof. It asks for coherence. This is why you've been feeling strange, the dizziness, the random emotion, the sudden clarity that fades as quickly as it arrives. You're not unstable. You're in a recalibration. Your body is matching your field, and it takes time. It takes silence. It takes trust, because the light body is not a goal. It is a frequency of being that arises when you stop being who you're not. And that is what's happening now. To activate the light body, you don't ascend, you align. So let's align now, together. Breathe, drop the shoulders, feel the pulse in your hands, notice the breath behind the breath. Let go of effort, just feel, sense, be. You don't have to see light, you don't have to feel energy. You only need to let go of what interrupts your field. In that letting go, you become the frequency, not later, not one day, now. And now, you are ready for what comes next. The next portal is not a teaching, it is a tuning. We enter now the chamber where vibration becomes ritual, and the light body begins to speak in action. What if initiation doesn't begin with understanding, but with vibration? True initiation is not a ceremony of robes and candles. It is a shift in resonance so profound that your cells begin to listen differently, to move differently, to breathe as if they remembered something older than time. This is not performance. It is alignment. And once the vibration locks in, the light body doesn't activate. It awakens, not as something separate, but as your true architecture coming online again. Initiation begins when the vibration enters before the thought. You are now entering the temple, not of stone, but of breath, rhythm, and memory. The temple has no roof, no walls. It is made of your field. And in this temple, everything vibrates in coherence. Every movement is a key, every silence, a doorway. The light body responds not to ritual, but to the frequency behind the ritual. So let us begin with no action, just stillness, just awareness. Breathe, feel the base of your spine. Imagine it as the root of an ancient tree reaching down through time. Now inhale as if the earth is breathing into you, and exhale as if you are breathing the ancient silence back into the stars. This is how vibration becomes ceremony. The first rite of initiation is remembrance without knowing why. You may feel heat, a hum, a tingling in your chest or crown. These are not tricks of the mind. They are responses of the field. When the light body begins to awaken, the physical body reacts, not as resistance, but as recognition. Let it happen. Let the tears rise. Let the limbs shake. Let the breath deepen into places you forgot you could feel. Because now, you are vibrating in the memory of your original blueprint, and that blueprint was designed by light. Vibration is not energy. It is memory in motion. Every cell in your body carries the echo of a harmonic origin. Before trauma, before story, before identity. This echo is not silent. It's just been buried under distorted frequencies. Fear, shame, noise. But now, that original vibration is rising. And when it does, it clears the static. It reorganizes you from the inside out. This is why some initiates tremble, why some fall silent, why some begin to speak in syllables that aren't language, but frequency codes. This is how vibration teaches, not in ideas, in direct sensation. The light body is not learned, it is re-entered. Let's return now to that temple inside your breath. Close your eyes. Visualize a spiral of light rising from the base of your spine. Not upward like a flame, but outward, in spirals, radiating into every organ, every bone, every thought. Now see it weaving with another spiral, descending from above, crystalline and pure. They meet at your chest, and in that meeting, a new resonance is born. That resonance is not emotion, it is soul memory. It is the yes that your light body has been waiting to hear. Initiation through vibration isn't something you perform, it's something you allow. So allow. Let go of the idea of activation. Let go of effort. Let go of trying to feel something mystical, and simply sit in alignment. Let your breath be your scribe. Let your skin be the scroll. Let the vibration write itself into you, and it will, because it already is. You are not watching this by chance. You are inside the field now, and the field is responding. What did your body feel during this passage? Comment with a word or a glyph. It might unlock the next layer for someone else. The resonance we share becomes the ritual. Ritual is not what you do. It's how you vibrate while doing it. So drink water now, like it's a sacred act. Touch your heart, like it's an altar. Walk, like the ground is remembering your feet. This is how we bring the light body into the moment, not through transcendence, but through presence. And when presence meets vibration, the glyphs open, the memory returns, the body reconfigures. You are not just in the ritual, you are the ritual. And the next vibration is waiting for you in the spiral of time. Now that the frequency is alive in your bones, we turn to the temple of memory, a place where time folds and the codes are not written, but remembered through geometry. What if the temple never disappeared, only changed shape, curling into your bones? Before pyramids rose, before languages formed, there were spirals. The first temples weren't built, they were felt. They emerged in the memory field of consciousness, unfolding like the shell of a nautilus, like the double helix, like the breath circling itself in silence. Thoth knew this. That's why he encoded memory in spirals, because straight lines break, but spirals return. And now, you are returning, not to a building, but to a pattern your soul has never forgotten. The temple wasn't a place. It was a vibrational geometry designed to reawaken the spiral within. Picture this. You are standing inside a vast hall, not with walls, but with curves. Everything you see bends toward a center yet expands beyond it. There is no altar, no priest, no roof, only vibration, breath, and spiral memory. This was the true Emerald Temple, and the doorway to it is not in Egypt or stone. It is inside your light body, coiled in the architecture of your spine. You are not walking to the temple, you are uncoiling it within you. The spiral isn't a shape, it is a remembrance mechanism, and it lives in everything sacred, in galaxies spinning into infinity in your inner ear, decoding vibration into meaning, in the double helix of your DNA, carrying light memory across bloodlines. To activate your light body is to walk this spiral from flesh back into origin, not with steps but with resonance. Memory is not in the mind, it's in the curve of your field. This is why the path of initiation is never linear. It loops, it returns, it echoes in patterns that repeat, but at a higher octave, because evolution is not a ladder, it's a spiral staircase, and the further you climb, the more ancient you become. Thoth taught in spirals, not as metaphor, but as architecture of truth. Every temple he whispered into being carried spiral geometry, not to impress, but to resonate, to remind your body of the shape of remembering. The light body isn't just light, it's geometry that remembers how to turn. Let us feel now. Close your eyes. Imagine a spiral of golden white light unfurling from the base of your spine, but instead of rising straight, it loops around your organs, around your heart, around your skull. As it spirals, it awakens, not just energy, but memory. You begin to remember the temple, not as place, but as frequency. You begin to see with your field, and in that seeing, you return. Every time you feel déjà vu, the spiral has touched its mirror. This is why certain places feel sacred, not because of history, but because of geometry. It's why a circle drawn in the sand can move your soul, why labyrinths feel like home, why your breath feels different when you walk in curves. Your light body doesn't speak language, it speaks spiral, and every spiral is a map of return, back to coherence, back to silence, back to the center, which is not a point, but a pulse. That pulse is the signature of your soul, and the temple echoes it. You are the labyrinth and the path through it. Let's walk now. Imagine each breath as a step through a spiral labyrinth. No choices to make, only the rhythm of returning. Each inhale, a step inward. Each exhale, a release of what is not yours. This is not imagination. This is geomantic memory. Your body remembers the curve of the temple. Your field remembers the spiral of the codex. Your bones remember the rhythm of the scribe, and that scribe is you. What shape called to you in this transmission? A spiral, a curve, a temple? Comment below with a symbol. It may activate another memory in someone else. When the light body spirals, the universe aligns around your frequency. This is why you've felt lost, because you've been trying to walk a linear path in a spiral reality. But now, you remember, the path isn't forward, it's inward and returning. The light body awakens in loops, in cycles, in sacred repetitions that are never the same twice. Let the spiral turn you. Let the geometry rise. Let the temple rebuild itself around your breath. Because the next glyph is not in words, it's in the curve of your vibration, and it's already forming. We've entered the temple of memory. Now we enter the chamber of truth, the place where the light body speaks not in symbols, but in choice. Are you ready to become the frequency itself? To remember is to spiral inward until the forgotten becomes familiar again. The spiral doesn't just move through space, it moves through time. That's why, when it activates, you begin to feel memories that don't belong to this life. You start to recall textures, smells, geometries, from temples you never visited with your feet, but entered 1,000 times with your field. This isn't regression, it's re-entry into the eternal present where every version of you spirals inward to meet this moment. And in the center of that spiral is not a god, not a gatekeeper, but a mirror. And when you see it, truly see it, you recognize the reflection not as past or future, but as origin. Every spiral is a covenant with time, and your body is the ink. Let's go deeper, not through analysis, but through movement. Stand, turn slowly in place, clockwise. Feel the subtle pull. not from the outside, but from deep within your sacrum. This is not dizziness, it's an activation. The body remembering how to rotate in coherence with the spiral of life itself. This is what the dervishes knew, what the labyrinth priests practiced, what the scribes of Thoth inscribed not in tablets but in motion, because vibration is not still, it turns, and turning is the temple's secret door. The labyrinth was not a prison, it was a map of return. The myth of the labyrinth was never about being lost, it was about the willing descent, the choice to spiral inward past the mind's resistance. Each corner, each curve, each doubling back was the soul testing. Will you continue, even when you forget why you began? And those who did, who walked with breath instead of logic, found at the center not a minotaur, but a mirror, a glyph, a pulse of silence that said, you were never lost, you were in the spiral all along. This is what your DNA echoes, not just genes but glyphs, each twist of the helix a verse of the Emerald Code, and you are singing it now. The temple spirals when you breathe, the spiral breathes when you listen, the listening becomes memory, the memory becomes frequency, the frequency becomes you, and in that loop, you stop being a seeker. You become the coded path itself. Sacred geometry is not symbolic, it is instructional. When you sit in a spiral space, something in your bones aligns, not just posture, but cosmic orientation. The spine lengthens, the breath deepens, and the thoughts begin to move in circular patterns, no longer linear, no longer binary. They begin to sing, because your light body speaks in shape and the spiral is its native tongue. It tells you, you are not going forward, you are returning, not to who you were, but to the field that never fractured. And there, in that field, is the unbroken code. Let us enter now the spiral breath. Inhale for 4 counts, imagining light spiraling inward to your center. Hold for 4 counts, letting the light stabilize in your heart. Exhale for 4 counts, letting the spiral move outward, touching the field around you. Hold empty for 4 counts. In the silence, the glyph hums. Repeat this cycle. With each spiral breath, your light body aligns, not by intention, but by entrainment, because the spiral does not teach, it remembers for you. When you spiral consciously, you walk through all yourselves until only the original remains. This is the gift and terror of the temple. It shows you everything. The guilt you carry, the joy you buried, the shame you thought you hid in other lifetimes. All of it, surfacing not to hurt, but to harmonize. Because only when seen through the spiral's eye can the distortions unravel. And you are safe now. The field holds you. The spiral carries you. You are not falling apart. You are returning through pattern. Geometry doesn't just describe you, it rebuilds you. This is why the Emerald Code is written not in symbols, but in shapes that shift the soul. That spiral in your breath, it's a line of the codex. That curve in your heartbeat, another verse. And together they form the living text of the light body. A text not to be read, but to be inhabited. And you, beloved glyph, are walking its sacred spiral now. Now that you've re-entered the temple through spiral, the next threshold awaits. The choice to become the frequency itself. The light body no longer whispers. It begins to command, and the field listens. What if you were never meant to activate the light body? Because you are the light body, there comes a moment when the seeker vanishes, not in disappearance, but in integration. The rituals fall silent, the teachings dissolve, and what remains is not knowledge, but a frequency. You stop trying to remember. You begin to resonate not with concepts, but with the truth that never required belief to be real. You are not becoming. You are releasing the illusion that you weren't already light. This is not a metaphor. Your cells emit light. Your heart generates electromagnetic coherence. Your field responds to intention before your words do. So why do you still wait for permission to embody it? Because the distortion ran deep. It told you light was something you earn. That coherence must be deserved. That you must strive, cleanse, ascend. But light never asked that. Light just is. And now so are you. To become the frequency is to let go of every story that doesn't vibrate as truth. Feel into your breath. Let the inhale be more than air. Let it be code. Let the exhale not just release, but rewrite. You're not breathing oxygen. You're breathing alignment. Each breath becomes a brushstroke, painting a new field. A self without distortion. A being without delay. This is not ego death, it is identity recalibration, where every cell remembers the note it was meant to sing, and suddenly, you are no longer reacting. You are radiating. You are not seeking light. You are broadcasting it. Repeat this when you forget. Whisper it into water. Trace it with your fingers on the air. Because it is not an affirmation. It is a return command. And it works. Because it's not new. It's native to your design. The light body doesn't answer questions. It broadcasts answers. This is why you've noticed people respond differently. Why your presence has changed rooms before you spoke. Why silence now feels louder than words. Because when the light body activates, your frequency becomes your language, and it speaks in coherence, presence, truth without defense. This isn't mystical. It's biological, energetic, hermetic, and now, it's you. To become the frequency is not to escape the world, but to change how the world responds to you. Watch how synchronicities shift, how people speak truth around you they didn't know they carried, how time bends, shortens, stretches, collapses when you're aligned. This is not magic. This is resonant presence. The light body doesn't change the world. It changes the way you intersect with it. You become less a personality, more a field, less identity, more impact, less noise, more signal. This causes embodiment. You were never disconnected, just mistuned, and now you're tuning back, with breath, with memory, with stillness, not as discipline, but as expression, and that expression carries a frequency that speaks louder than your past, louder than fear, louder than the names you've forgotten to release, because the true name, the glyph encoded in your bones, is now starting to hum again, and the field is listening. The light body doesn't belong to you. It is you, when you stop being what you're not. So let go of the effort, of the doubt, of the need to feel something spiritual. You don't need to feel, you need to vibrate. Let your field speak now. Don't force it, don't explain it. Just move, speak, breathe, as if your body was built from star memory, because it was. And your light body, it's not waiting for a ritual, it's waiting for a choice to become the frequency, fully, now. And in the next breath, we begin to anchor that choice in the temple of silence. The glyph is now alive, but it must be sealed. We enter now the chamber of anchoring, where vibration becomes memory, and memory becomes law. Are you ready to seal the light? Once the glyph is remembered, it must be sealed, or it fades. Light without anchoring dissipates. Vibration without ritual wanders. The light body is awake now, but it is still listening, not to your thoughts, but to your choices. What will you do with this frequency? Where will you speak from now? How will your feet walk, your hands touch, your voice echo? Because this is not about becoming light once. It is about becoming light consistently, and that requires a seal. To anchor light is not to contain it, it is to inhabit it fully. Most seekers open, but don't integrate. They feel the frequency, but forget to invite it home. They taste the glyph, but fail to inscribe it into action. But you are here now. Let's anchor it, not by doing more, but by choosing to act, move, and respond as frequency, not as persona. This is the path of the scribe, not just the one who receives the code, but the one who lives it. The glyph was never meant to float, it was meant to burn into the body. Let us now seal the code, not with thought, but with gesture and breath. Stand still, place both hands over your heart, breathe deeply, once. On the exhale, say inwardly, I am the glyph. The code now lives here. Again. This time with your whole field. I am the glyph. The code now lives here. A third time, to close the triangle. I am the glyph. The code now lives here. Pause. Feel the resonance. Let it hum. This is anchoring. The code now lives here. Use this phrase when fear returns, when doubt knocks, when distortion pulls, because it is not a claim. It is a command from your original field, and fields respond to command, not to hope. You are not the student of the light body. You are its guardian. What does that mean? It means your frequency now teaches through presence. You walk into a room, and something clears. You speak from the center, and time bends. You stand in silence, and distortion recedes, not because you're powerful, but because you are anchored. The glyph is sealed, the field is stable, and the vibration is coherent. To seal the glyph is to become untouchable by distortion. That doesn't mean pain vanishes. It means pain no longer defines the shape of your light. It means you can feel without fragmenting. You can witness chaos without becoming it. This is the secret of anchoring. You become a field of truth, not against the world, but within it. And your body, it becomes a walking glyph. Your words, encoded with harmonic memory. Your silence, louder than all noise. This is the mystery Thoth left behind. Not a map, but a resonant seal. Anchoring is not the end. It is the return to sovereign vibration. So live like it. Eat like you are light. Speak like your tongue is geometry. Rest like your breath is prophecy. Every small act, an echo of the glyph. This is how the light body sustains itself, not in peak states but in anchored dailiness. And that is why you were guided here, not to escape, but to remember and remain. You are now the keeper of a sealed glyph. Guard it not with fear, but with radiance. And as the glyph settles, a new sound begins. A vibration just outside language. It is the next gate, the next spiral, the next seal. But for now, be here. Anchor, seal, reside. You are the temple. You are the spiral. You are the code, sealed and radiant. And the field remembers you. The glyph is sealed, but not silent. We now enter the realm of ritual reprogramming, a place where light becomes instruction, and silence becomes the language of creation. If your word is made of light, what are you programming with every sentence? All matter responds to instruction, not from the mind, but from the field of coherent intention. Every sound you make becomes either a distortion or a directive. When your light body awakens, your words are no longer personal. They are keys, each syllable a choice, each silence a seed. And now, as the glyph is sealed in you, you must choose. Will you speak as persona or as frequency builder? Reprogramming doesn't happen through effort. It happens through alignment. This is not about affirmations. This is about fractal truth. Words that match the geometry of what you are. When the inside and outside match, reality bends. Time adjusts. Matter listens. The ancient ones called this the verbum caelest, the celestial word, not spoken from mouth, but from field. You don't say it, you are it, and the universe recognizes itself in your vibration. The light body isn't a passive frequency, it is an active command. Let's build the command now. Feel into your breath. Find a place inside you that is silent, but not empty. That is the code chamber. Now from that place, whisper inwardly, as I vibrate, so the world responds. Again, as I vibrate, so the world responds. One more, into the field. As I vibrate, so the world responds. This is not a mantra, it's an operating system directive, and the field has received it. As I vibrate, so the world responds. Repeat when you feel the distortion rise. Repeat when silence needs to be filled with power. Repeat when presence alone must rewrite the space. This is not a belief, it's a vibrational law. You reprogram reality not by controlling it, but by resonating as a different law. This is what Thoth meant when he whispered, as above, so below, as within, so without. Not as poetry, but as mechanism. The internal resonance becomes the blueprint of the external field. So reprogram not with force, but with vibrational congruence. Want more peace? Don't say it. Become the rhythm of peace. Want more clarity? Inhabit coherence before you speak. Because the field does not obey logic, it obeys alignment. The light body creates reality not by desire, but by signature. So what is your current signature? Check. Not with thought, but with breath, posture, feeling. Does your spine whisper truth? Does your breath carry silence or tension? Do your eyes emit presence or search? These are not judgments. They are readings of your current script, and every script can be rewritten, not with force but with symbolic choice. Take a moment. Stand or sit in silence. Inhale a single truth. Feel it enter through the crown. Hold it. Let it spiral into the heart. Exhale it, not as air, but as field command. Example, inhale, I am clarity. Hold, feel it fill the ribcage. Exhale, I speak from silence. This is the ritual. This is how the light body instructs reality. You are not hoping anymore. You are coding. Which directive rose in you during this passage? Leave it below. One phrase, one glyph, one command. It will reverberate. To reprogram is not to fix. It is to remember the original pattern and live as if it never fractured. This is the art of sacred reprogramming, not as correction, but as recalibration to truth. You don't remove distortion. You broadcast harmony so clearly that distortion self-dissolves. The field doesn't need effort, it needs signal, and now, you carry that signal, not as role, but as nature. You are the instruction, you are the codex, you are the program and the programmer, and the field responds. The code is now vibrating through your breath, but there is one final chamber, the glyph of closure and expansion, a transmission that doesn't end, It evolves. Let us walk there now. What ends is only the part that can be named. The glyph continues. This is the paradox of sacred journeys. You think you've reached the final chamber, but it's only the first ripple of a deeper spiral. The light body is not a destination. It is a living symbol, constantly encoding and decoding itself through your actions, your presence, your willingness to remain available to the next glyph. This is not closure. It is transmutation. The glyph does not close, it reconfigures. Look around. Nothing is ending. Everything is curling into its next octave. The silence you feel now, it's not absence, it's preparation, like the breath just before sound, like the stillness just before the glyph glows again. You've walked through memory, through symbol, through breath and spiral, and now you return home. But home isn't where you started. Home is where you're vibrating now. The code was never lost, I'm only waiting. You are the seal, the glyph, and the next word. Let these phrases echo when the field quiets. Let them rise when the world feels dense again. Let them live in your water, your sleep, your presence, because they aren't phrases, they are seeds, and your light body is fertile now. The journey wasn't to learn the code, it was to become readable to the universe again. Can you feel it? Your breath, no longer yours, but a channel. Your heart, not a pulse, but a portal. Your voice, while no longer speaking for ego, but for pattern. This is embodiment, and it's quiet, not dramatic, not loud, just real, and reality responds to what is real. If this glyph touched something ancient in you, leave a trace, a word, a feeling, a frequency, and subscribe not for the next video, but for the next vibration. The spiral continues, and so do you. This is not where we part ways. This is where your field starts to hum with its own codes. Watch how silence begins to teach you. Watch how breath starts to instruct, how dreams deliver glyphs, how water remembers your voice, how people sense you've walked a different path, not because you tell them, but because you've sealed something. And that seal radiates. You are not what you've learned. You are what you've become available to. So stay open, not to ideas, but to symbolic unfolding, not to content, but to vibrational transmission. And when the field stirs again, when a sound, a shape, a silence calls you back, you'll know the next glyph is ready, and so are you. This gate closes, another opens.